Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
This is Toffee TV and we are back to look back at this week's absolutely amazing, crazy, disappointing, heartbreaking, groan-inducing, frustrating game at Goodison Park, Everton versus Chelsea. It is Peter McParlin, Barry Cass, and we're going to do our best to stay calm, stay cool, stay calculated. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I don't even know where to start. It was an incredible game, full of highs and lows, full of good points, full of absolutely some of the worst defending I've ever seen in my life, some of the best attacking I've ever seen in my life from Everton, and yet somehow we've been beaten 6-3.
It's difficult to know where to start, isn't it? It was.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How on earth does this Everton side, with such a good home record, such a good defensive record in general, concede a goal within 40 seconds?
By not doing the basics right. Simple as. Against a team like Chelsea, we spoke about it in the preview show, how they can hurt you, how much talent they've got. So what you have to do is you want to keep it tight for the opening 10 minutes, feel your way into the game and see what they've got, what you've got. And all of Roberto Martinez's team talk is out the window after 35 seconds. Chelsea don't really have to do much. They pass it round. Everton haven't got the ball. They haven't. Fabregas just plays a ball. Some good movement by Costa. But Phil Jagielka, look away now if you're watching. Just really, really poor. Trying to play offside after 35 seconds.
Should it be such a high line that early on? I mean, as you mentioned, you're not getting yourself into the game, feeling your way into the game. Should we be so high there? Because you think, I know it's not massively high, but it's not like we're on the halfway line, but you think normally our defenders will drop deep, want the ball, take the ball, and you're thinking, why are we so high there, allowing that space behind the defence?
I don't know. I think you just got dragged across, but I think it's okay being high. Once you've got the measure of them. They've never played against Costa before. You don't know what kind of runs he's making. You don't know if he can catch him, if he gets away from you. So what you do in them first 2 or 3 minutes is no silly mistakes. Jagielka should just go with him. Simple as. This stand's watching the ball that's coming in this side of him, so he's going to try and run across. Costa's running here. If Jags goes with him, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Jags goes with him, he might get close to him, he might get a block on it or something like that. It doesn't happen. He spins off, he's in that on the back and he scores. And it was just such a terrible start to the game. And from there, everything's out the window, isn't it? Your whole game plan has gone out the window after 35 seconds.
And Chelsea kept the foot on the pedal as well. They didn't relent. They kept going for those couple of minutes afterwards, and soon Everton found themselves 2 down. Good possession by Chelsea again. Fabregas was at the heart of everything. I thought he was excellent. Yeah. You could see there was such a difference with him on the pitch for Chelsea from Chelsea teams we've seen previously. We're all aware of Chelsea and the power and the pace and the way they'll use their holding players, but he just gave them a different edge. And as you mentioned, Costa's movement's brilliant, but allowed them to just camp on the edge of our box, and the ball comes through to Ivanovic, and one of the first strange decisions of the game by the officials, because he was definitely offside. Now, I know last week we benefited from an offside. Now, if this decision had been made in, one-off, then I probably would have went, it's karma coming back. But some of the decisions for the whole of the game were just absolutely baffling.
Yeah, Lions don't have a tough job, don't they? Let's be honest. It's no excuse, but it's looking at when players are moved, the players moving. But he looked offside anyway, didn't he? Straight away, and it's any part of your body you can score with is offside. It's not allowed, and he got the benefits of it. Leighton Baines trying to step out. Now I know he's being justified because Ivanovic is offside, but again, it's 3 minutes in. You don't know whether should he just go with him and try and get a block in. I don't know, but he slotted it well, didn't he?
For a
right back or a centre half, whatever he is, he put it away well, and it was really, you were thinking at that stage this could end up embarrassing, because Everton just couldn't get near it.
That certainly went through my mind. But from that point on, Everton got a measure of control. Now, it's hard to know
a measure of good fortune as well.
They did, which we'll talk about. But they started getting themselves back in the game. Now, we don't know whether that was due to Chelsea saying, well, we've got 2-0 win, we're up 2-0, sorry. We can just sit back and soak up Everton's pressure. It's hard to know, isn't it? But again, Chelsea get a break, a ball over, and again, it's so simple. Tim Howard has a rush of blood, comes out of his area, which is strange because he never comes off his line. But he was probably so wary of Costa and how fast he was onto things that he comes out. Don't know whether he loses his bearings or he just, a goalkeeper being a goalkeeper, grabs it and sort of falls into the area and then applauds the linesman, which was added to the brilliance of it.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think they were just, because they were so all at sea in them opening few minutes, I think he's just decided to come and make a decision. He was probably panicking. It was a ball through. He actually probably could have just booted it. It takes it waist tight and does it. The fact that he falls back inside the area with the ball, and if the linesman's unsure, he looks and sees him laying in the box. He probably thought, I'm not convinced he's outside. I can't wave me flag. So that's another decision he's got wrong. Well, yeah, there's two.
And then the other one, the next one, which Everton benefits from, we've lost one on the advantage goal, got one back on the Howard one, but then another one. Phil Jagielka, again, I haven't got a clue what he's doing. He's got the ball. He looks like he's going to turn to go back to Howard. The ball gets nicked off him. Diego Costa is through one-on-one with the goalkeeper again, goes round Tim Howard, and it's a goal. And the flag goes up from the assistant referee. And Sylvan Distance keeping him onside by about 3 whole yards.
He missed anyway. Both the post.
Well, yeah, it did, and it rolled on the line. But again, unbelievable decision. An unbelievable decision. But it highlighted, as well, Jagielka.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Jagielka. I really, I don't know what's going on with Everton defence, full stop. But Jagielka is really, I think to be honest, I think the pair of them are a worry. They're a real worry. But I mean, after the Howard thing, Everton did get a measure of control. I don't believe it's because Chelsea went way too up. Now I'm going to take our foot off it. I just think Everton are a good possession side, and he got the foot in the game like I always knew they could do if they just managed to get through 10-minute period without conceding. And it was Everton on the front foot. Naismith has a cracking turn and whistles one just wide, and we have a goal disallowed. Do you think
Lukaku should have scored that though, regardless of the offside goal? Because for me, I think Lukaku should have buried that.
I'm not. He headed it in at the bar. I'm going to say he done well to get his head on. It was a good header. Could have on another day could have hit the bar at Courtois or whatever you want to call him and gone in. And the linesman couldn't wait to put the flag up, could he? Now, okay, this stand was off, but so was Ivanovic down the other end. But Everton went on from there. Okay, the Costa one, another mistake. But there was a set one in the second half where Lukaku was clean through and he put his flag up. And when you look, when you've seen it last night, he was again a few yards onside. So it wasn't a great day for the officials. But I thought Everton, after that opening 10 minutes, I thought we played really, really well. Going forward, I think Chelsea in that first half, I think they were very, very wary of us, that their attacks became less and less. And it was more about trying to keep us out. And obviously we get a goal right on our time, and it was a fantastic goal.
We'd worked the ball on the edge of the box like we always do again. I mean, early on people were getting a little bit frustrated, people weren't shooting, but we were continuing to work the ball, continuing to get it down the right. I think that the goal actually came from almost the same movement that was created from the corner when we had a goal disallowed into McGeady, then out to Seamus Coleman, and his ball was blocked. But this time it was a fantastic ball in from Seamus Coleman and an absolutely fantastic header by Kevin Morales. When he rose, he actually reminded me of Ronaldo, the way he got up for it and his stature, and you don't expect those kind of goals from Kevin Morales. But I know it's very early days, and he has said he wants to make this season, I suppose he wants to be a lot more
important to the side.
Not only more important, but more consistent, I think, as well. He wants to be the main man, more
that's
consistent.
The importance, isn't it? If you're consistent, you become a massive player in the team, and he's still a little bit hit and miss, Morales, at times, but I thought he was excellent last week against Arsenal. I thought he had a very good game again yesterday, and the goal was fantastic. And I think Everton were getting in them areas on the right-hand side enough times, they were causing Chelsea problems. But the problem was, when we get into them areas, particularly McGeady, taking too long. He was doing a little trick and throwing Aspilicueta off balance and getting himself half a yard to throw the cross in. He was coming back inside, and then it was gone then. The chance was gone. And on that occasion, he does a nice little move and plays a good ball inside the full-back to Coleman. He doesn't mess around, throws it in. Morales running in, tremendous header, and it's game on again. Everton are right back in it.
Now 2-1 half time, and it's not looking terrible, to be honest. You've got the goal just for another game where we've got a goal just before half time. 3 in a row now gives you that little bit of hope at half time, whether you're winning or you're looking to come back into the game. Obviously, the next goal was going to be massive. Controversial, this goal. Coleman and Costa had a bit of a run-in beforehand. Simple throw-in, but Costa, doesn't seem to like people going near him, but yet is willing to put it out. He's trying to wind people up. He's trying to get the edge. This time the referee's gone on Coleman's side and booked Costa. The goal happens. It's a run by Eden Hazard, who gets away from McCarthy far too easy for me. He puts a ball across it. Unfortunately, Coleman 9 times out of 10, when he makes that block, it's going out for a corner. This time it spins into the net. Costa can't help but run over and sort of laugh in the face of Seamus Coleman, which some pundits will have you happily to believe that's great banter. Sees nothing wrong with that, and that just got Tim Howard to see red. Runs out, grabs him by the throat, and once again a national broadcaster said, "Oh, Costa stood up to him." Well, Costa didn't stand up to him. Costa just bottled it, and Tim Howard just looked like he was going to rip his throat out.
You've kind of encapsulated everything I was going to say. The goal itself was really, really poor for a number of reasons, but the fact that was showing a gap. Space behind for one of the best players in the Premier League, one of the best players in Europe, pacey. As Hazard, if you remember, he turns away from the Everton goal. McCarthy's facing up, and Coleman, if you look at him, is the wrong side of McCarthy. He should be covering the space in behind him, because that's where the danger is, and he doesn't. He comes too far that way and allows Hazard to get away. And like you say, once he left McCarthy, not many people leave McCarthy for dead, but he did. And Coleman throws himself at it, and like you say, 9 times out of 10, it either gets blocked and they clear it, or it goes out for a corner. And it was just a spawny, horrible, spawny goal.
What did you make of Tim Howard's reaction to it?
Well, look, he's wound up, isn't he? Everton are back in the game. He's wound up. He's seen Costa giving it the big one over on the side, and then we just don't do that. He didn't need it. He could have just gone and celebrated with the players, but he didn't. He runs over to Coleman. Obviously, you see that kind of thing in Sunday League, and you're not. I don't know. It happens. Some foreign players do it. Howard protected Coleman a few times, hasn't he? Done it with Negredo last year at the Etihad, and he went over. And to be honest, he was a bit fortunate, I'll say.
He was,
because he obviously manned up. But Jack Elker's there. He's the skipper, and someone pointed out quite rightly on Twitter last night to me. Is that not? Should Jags not be in there as well as the captain?
Or should he not be in there grabbing Howard at the very least and pulling him away?
I think it's showing where Jag Elker is at the minute. I think he's a little.
Well, we'll talk about Jag Elker a little bit more later on.
It was a very, very cruel goal, and at a time when Everton were totally
3-1, 67th minute, and you're thinking this is all over. In fact, Chelsea could go and get more, but no, we did show a little bit of character. We stood up, and a couple of minutes later, we're back in the game. McGeady down the right, skips inside, plays a lovely little ball. Not only was it a nice ball, but Naismith's run was absolutely perfect. Naismith, what I love about him is he attacks the space. He looks for the space because he knows that he's not the fastest player in the world, so he can't run away from anyone. But he knows that if he runs into the space, there's no one in there. It's all about movement. When people say on TV, kids should be watching this, it is actually really good for kids to watch someone like Naismith, because he makes the best of all those little things that he's got, and his movement is brilliant, and movement in football is so important, and this is what he has shown this season.
It's also the run of Lukaku as well. Lukaku, as McGeady comes inside, Ron makes the run towards McGeady, but on a diagonal, so that Chelsea's eyes are watching Lukaku, and Naismith, like you say, just sees the space and goes, put it there. It was a lovely weighted pass. People give McGeady a little bit of stick, and sometimes he deserves it and sometimes he doesn't. But he has got that ability. He's got great feet, good ability, good awareness, and it was a lovely ball. And what a first touch by Naismith, out of his feet and beyond the court, just before he could settle.
It reminded me of his goal against Villa last season. We've continually said this. He's the best finisher at the club. And what you've just said about Lukaku there is spot on, because some people looked at that game yesterday and said Lukaku wasn't a good game. Now he still got that knock. That was quite evident late on. I don't know how much he's trained. So fitness-wise, he probably wouldn't have kicked on. But it's runs like that people don't see. And when people say, "Oh, he didn't have a good game," well, it's little things like that.
I think it is. I think we just expect more. We want more from him, don't we? He hasn't scored a goal yet. We want him to get off the mark. He signed as our player now. We want him off the mark quickly. He's not fit. I think everyone can see he's not fully fit, and we need to get him as fit as we can. But in each of the games that he's played, he's made a contribution. You know what I mean? And he done it again.
It'll be an interesting one now, because I think Belgium have got a friendly next week against Australia. Now, if he's fit, I'd love him to go and play 90 minutes or play whatever. But if he's not fit, I'd rather he just sat at home and got fit. So we'll have to see where he is with that. 5 minutes later, it's game over again, isn't it? It's Chelsea on the edge of the box, bit of little play, and Matic hits one that takes a deflection off this time, but also, and then Jagielka, I think it might nick both of them, or certainly one of them. But what annoyed me about this goal was both of them are stretching, but neither of them are blocking. One of them, if both of them are stretching, why isn't one of them in his face? Both of them looked 5 yards off him. And once that shot's being dispatched, it can go anywhere.
Yeah, we don't do this well enough for me. We don't get in and around our penalty area. We're static, and we should be standing right on play, particularly plays like Matic. So I'm going to run away from you. And this time, all he has to do is block. He's on his left foot, so he's coming inside onto his favoured foot. So if this stand takes a step to the right, that movement is blocked off. He'll have to go on the outside onto his unfavoured right foot. And we should be touch tight anyway there when players are on the edge of our box with the ball. Chelsea showed what you do in and around the box. Yeah. Terry and Cahill, for whatever, they run out and make sure they throw themselves at it. Now, okay, if it loops off them and goes in, so be it, but they're trying to stop it. At the moment, we're not blocking and we're not closing down anywhere near quick enough, and it's costing us game after game. And it did there for the fourth goal.
Now, funny enough, the Naismith goal was the last action for McGeady. He was coming off anyway, but Roberto Martinez decided that was definitely the last thing he did, which I thought was a little bit strange, because once a player's done something like that, the confidence will probably be bubbling, and you think maybe to reassess it. He brought Samuel Eto'o on for his debut, 20 minutes to go, and it only took a couple of minutes after the Matic goal, 5 minutes of his debut, and he showed his absolute class. He won the free kick in the first place from nothing. We talked about this about Naismith last week, about winning free kicks from nothing, winning clever free kicks. Baines is fizzed. They're quite low balling, but a good ball. But Eto'o showed all his class and all his experience to guide that ball into the bottom corner. He had no right to put it there. And I don't think Everton have got another player who could have done that, or certainly has done that for us. And to finish it off right in the corner there was absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant goal. It was a great ball by Baines, good pace on it. His set pieces haven't been right for about a year now, to be fair. But it was a good ball in. It was a great header. Just guided it, didn't try to do anything. It just put it into the corner, get something on it, and he placed it beyond Curtis and just showed what a class player he is, really. And if we can get him at the top of his game, he's going to be fantastic.
I thought he was brilliant for the 20 minutes. I thought he looked sharp, he looked fit. He had so many nice little touches. There was one that he just clipped into the area for Lukaku and it just went a little bit too far.
I think he's been one of the best strikers in the world, and when you look at that, you've got that movement in your locker. If you can just marry that up with the hunger, if he's still got the hunger, which he obviously has because he's come here, Everton are going to have a hell of a player on their hands, and they've got enough bright players around them which will link up.
Well, that was the other thing as well. The link-up play was he just seemed to be on everyone else's wavelength straight away. But the other thing was it's the little things. It's almost like saying, you give me a decent ball and I'll give you a good ball back. We all played with a kid in school who was really, really good. I think you were really good, and that was the only thing. So you might be able to get this. But you always knew if you played with a kid in school, anyone's played footy in level, if you ever played with a really good player, he makes you such a better player. Because the link up, knock a ball 30 yards into your feet, and next minute you score a goal and you look like the brilliant player. The more good players you got around you, the better you become.
And wait, imagine when the likes of Barkley are back in there and people like that, when everyone's up to speed and Atsu's in there, it'll all get better and better. Yesterday was a lovely little introduction for him. It was great for the fans because he's off the mark as well. Anyone having jibes in the week about him, he's old, and a few other supporters were, what a waste of time getting him. He's off the mark already. He's played 20 minutes. He scored his first Premier League goal for us, and I think for me at that stage it was 4-3. I had the full belief we'd equal. I really did. I thought, right, we're back at these. They looked terrified of us, to be fair. We were controlling the game. Okay, they killed us on the break. They did, but we were controlling the game. But at that stage, the minute that went 4-3, after a couple of minutes, we were pressing on again. I really was thinking at that time, we need to make the right substitutions here again now and put some legs on in midfield, because that was the danger.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, Eto'o comes on for McGeady, and then we only make one more sub.
4 strikers on the pitch.
We only make we'll talk about that as well. We only make one more sub, and that's Besic for Lukaku in the last minute, which is strange to me. And you just mentioned here at 4-3, we have got 4 strikers. I mean, we had 4 strikers on the whole game. Let's be honest, right? We've got McGeady, Morelos, Naismith, and Lukaku for the whole game. We're very, very top heavy. Okay, Naismith does a lot of work back. Morelos tries to join in the defensive side. McGeady not so much. Then we bring Eto'o as an out and out, an attacker. And a 4-3. I know we both feel the same on this. That could have been the right time to introduce Besic at that point then, and almost say, right, we're gonna take. I mean, it would have been difficult. Might have been Lukaku at that point because he might have been struggling. So he might have been the man to go off. And you think, right, let's get the 3 in midfield spot on defensively, because the front three we've now got will absolutely destroy their back line, because that's what it looked like, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you can be gung-ho, and sometimes you can be so gung-ho that it leaves you too much to do at the back.
I think within that, you could have still left Lukaku. You could have gone with Gareth Barry. Looked knackered to me, and Gareth Barry was wonderful last season. He was fantastic, but he's 33, and you can't expect him to play 90 minutes every single week, and up against fit runners like Chelsea. But there's not many teams will have midfield players like Chelsea that we'll come up against. Other top teams haven't really got it. City are a lot slower than Chelsea. They're fantastic, but they're a lot slower than Chelsea. Arsenal a lot slower than Chelsea. There's only probably Liverpool really you've got as fast runners off the ball as what Chelsea have got. So this isn't going to be a regular occurrence. But what he could have done yesterday was he could have, with 20 minutes to go or 15 minutes to go as it was when it went 4-3, freshen that midfield up. He could have put Besic on instead of Gareth Barry. He could have put Gibson on. Gibson's on the bench. He's obviously fit enough to play 15 minutes of football. He could have just said, right, hang on, we're 4-3 here. We're right in the game. I'll drop Kevin Morales back a little bit, or drop Stephen Naismith into a hole, and make sure I've got legs in there with James McCarthy. You know what I mean? And he didn't. It's great going for him. Not going to castigate him for it, because I'd rather us try to win games than just lose gracefully 1-2-1 or something. But there was just that little gap. We were looking tired then.
But there's different ways of going for it. We say go for it, we want to go for it. That's not a problem. But it's a different way of going for it, isn't it? Because I remember last year at Swansea when we were playing away, and at 1-1 he brought Osman on, and I remember Laudrup after the game saying, well, they brought Osman on for a draw. And he didn't. He brought Osman on to sit and allow other players to go forward. And I just thought yesterday that's something he could have done. He could have brought Besic on and said, right, we're going to make sure now we're tight at the back, but we've got the players on to do the damage, and we've got Eto'o who's fresh, and maybe we could have brought one more on as well, just to freshen things up, because as you say, 4-3, we had them on the run. And what have we done then? We've allowed them to come back at us, and we've showed all our defensive problems once again, and allowed a really, really silly goal that could have been stopped. And it wasn't stopped because players are tired, and they're chasing after players like Ramirez, who was a fresh player. He hasn't played much this season, and he goes on and gets a goal because we're not blocking, we're not stopping, we're chasing shadows. Again, McCarthy's running after people, because it's just the legs just weren't there.
The fifth goal was the worst in some respects, because you come back 3 times, a team who are going to be, for me, definitely going to finish in the top 2. And you'd got them on the rack. You're dominating the game. It's all about you. You're in control of the game. They're hanging on a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, Everton are in the ascendancy. The crowd are bouncing, and you're thinking, we're going to make this 4-4. And if they've gone 4-4, you know, who's to say we don't win it? And that 5th goal, just watch it again. It's slow motion in and around the box. Everyone's static. It just reminded me of the Arsenal first goal last week. Everyone looks dead on the feet around the box. Even James McCarthy, who never left. No one left him at all last year. Goes out, and you know, he just stands there, and someone plays the ball around him. Ramirez runs out on the back of him. He doesn't know where he is. Leighton Baines just stays. If he goes across as Ramirez gets that 1-2 in the box, he gets a block and he doesn't. He reacts too late. And okay, it's a toe poke. It could have gone anywhere. It fizzes in off the far post. And you just think you're working so hard to get yourself back in that game against a brilliant side, and you shoot yourself in the foot by not defending properly. And it was, how many times have we seen balls getting passed around our box, and we just all look like we're standing still. Everyone, get in the faces, defend properly, put your foot through it.
A lot of players.
Costa dives as well, by the way.
Well, it's a lot of players standing still. A lot of players not reacting to other people's movements. A lot of players who look mentally tired, physically tired at that stage of the game. We've been caught out.
That's why I'm saying, if Bessage or even Gibson would have come on for that 15, you've got the legs. And so, all right, Gareth Barry's great, and he'll control a game, he'll pull it down, and he'll bring plays into it. But at a time when you're worried about their runners, you want legs. You want someone who's going to run. If Ramirez runs, he's going to run after him. Gibson knows the position, can just sit all day long. And we didn't do it, and we got caught out. And not many teams will do that to us. But it was a game that we were very much in.
But it's just about using your head, isn't it? As you say, we just mentioned, again, Roberto Martinez, he knows what he expects from players, and he knows how he wants his team to play. That's fair enough. But sometimes you do have to say, right, let's just change something. Let's just tinker with something. For the good of the whole team. Because when that goal went in, you just looked at it and thought, right, that's it. And then you talk about making things happen or not. So he brings Bessage on the last minute.
Well, hang on. After it goes 5-3, you're down again, and a minute and a half later. You know, the best move of the match, actually, from Everton. The football was phenomenal. And you're talking about Eto'o again. The little layoff back to Coleman knocks it in. Eto'o, a lovely little touch, little clip in to Morales, great volley. And it's flying in. You're thinking, this is 5-4. And he makes a world.
He does. But that's the most annoying part of it. That save probably, not saying it kept Chelsea in the game or anything like that, but it almost stopped the momentum, didn't it? Because it was like every time they'd scored, you know, from the third goal, we were backing it, and that one just stopped the momentum.
If that goes in the top corner there, Morales thought he'd scored 5-4 with probably 7 or 8 minutes left.
Yeah, but that's
Are they going to then go?
That's it, isn't it?
Back at us again.
It's having a 4-3. You could see we were still going to go for it. I mean, even a 5-2, we were still going for it. But that changed the momentum and almost took the air out of the balloon. And as we were just saying then, brings Bessage on. We all seen his first 5 seconds of his pre-season debut at Goodison Park. He tried to match it up with something equally as spectacular. Failed massively. They get through. Ramirez plays a lovely little backheel ball into Costa, and Costa got the last laugh again, didn't he? Sort of showed up distant and then showed up Howard and finished it well. And so that's what happens when you pay top money for the top striker. And it was horrible because it left everybody walking out the ground with a really horrible taste in their mouth, when really at times, you know, we looked excellent. We scored some excellent goals. 62% of the possession we had in that game. 17 shots, 7 shots on target to their 8. Corners 8 to their 2. There was so many.
They had 8 shots on target and scored 6 goals.
Exactly. There was so much positivity in that game, but unfortunately, we're going to look back and look at all the issues, which you should look at because the positive things will continue to be positive, but it's about getting right those negative things.
I think the thing I took from it last week, I wanted to put my head through a window or something, because I was just devastated, absolutely devastated, because Arsenal didn't deserve anything last week. They deserved nothing. I can't say Chelsea didn't deserve anything yesterday. Of course I can't. But we were the better side. The first 10 minutes were berserk, and they bossed it. After that, we were the better side. And you come out of it thinking, okay, we haven't lost 6-0. You know, we've conceded 6 goals at home, which is outrageous. But 4 of them, you know, offside, 2 deflections. a back pass. So you look at it that way and go, okay, well, that's not going to be the norm. And we played some fantastic football, and we were threatening. We looked like we'd score goals. Not many teams would put 3 past them. We had them on the rack, but you look at it and you think, like, we've got to 3 games played and we conceded 10 goals. And for me, a lot of them goals have been poor goals. They've been giveaway goals, and that's something we need to eradicate now.
Conceded 8 at home, which is almost half as many as we conceded all last season at home. So that, for me, what it's going to do is, if Roberto Martinez thinks the first 2 games conceding were a fluke, this one sort of says, no, it wasn't a fluke. Something needs to be changed, or something needs to be addressed. Saying something to address. Let's quickly talk about Phil Jagielka. It was strange because when I was at the game, it felt like this time was our fault for everything. But when you look back at it and you see it from different angles, it's clear that Jagielka was a massive problem. Not only goals wise, but there was the mistake in the first half that nearly led to the Costa goal. There was one in the second half that nearly led to a Costa goal. Tim Howard made a fantastic save. All day he just looked out of it.
But he's looked out of it all pre-season.
We mentioned the incidents with Howard and Costa, and just that sort of body language of not being up to it. Now we've been looking back at last year. Now, he got an injury against Sunderland on Boxing Day, and since then he's only played, I think it's 10 games altogether since then, and obviously
9 months.
A couple of England games and a couple of pre-season games, whatever. And for me, whatever it is, I don't know whether he's never got back to speed. He got brought back against Liverpool when he clearly wasn't fit, and Roberto Martinez has said he should never have done that. And I think that's why the second spell out, he left him. And let's remember, we won 7 games in a row without Phil Jagielka. John Stones there at the back. So what does he do? Does he leave his captain out and say, I've looked at what you've done, you need to get back to basics, and I'm going to give a kid who's been fantastic second half of last season a chance? Or does he say, right, we're going to work through the problems and we're going to address it all on the training pitch and try and get it right?
That's the question, isn't it? That's the thing. I mean, I think the pair of them, Distan and Jagielka, haven't started the season particularly well. Jagielka doesn't look the same player. Doesn't look the same player. He looks all over the place. He hasn't looked the same player since the turn of the year. I think it's probably a bit of both. I think confidence is shot. I think the World Cup's affected him. He's took a lot of criticism. Remember it. It's okay. It's one thing to take criticism for your club, because obviously there's just a percentage of supporters, and a lot of us love Jagielka, so he doesn't get a hard time really, but people will scrutinise him. Making mistakes for England, the whole country's looking at it, and he will have heard people blaming him for all sorts, particularly the Suarez goals in the Uruguay game, which was a thing altogether. But it's affected his confidence, it looks like to me. He looks a yard off the pace. He doesn't look sure in anything he's doing. Last year he was a ball-playing centre-half when he was up. His confidence was up. He was switching the play. I remember him playing for England, and he was the one taking the ball off the goalkeeper. Now he just looks terrified. Distan's never looked comfortable playing that. He does it to the best of his ability. But I think the pair of them, I think Stones needs to come in, because I'm a great believer in it. If you're suffering and the team's suffering for you, you need to come out of it, get your head right and get refocused. I remember City doing it with Joe Hart last year, brought him up and he came back better. Jags, come off, get yourself mentally right. I think Stones needs to come in. I don't think, if I was Jagielka and Distan and looked across and seen Escape from Alcatraz sitting there, I don't think it wouldn't make me think he's ready to take my place. Good a footballer as Alcaraz is, he just hasn't got the pace or the legs, so I don't think they're threatened by him at all. A little bit like probably Howard with Jan Mucha. I think he might feel a little bit more threatened by Robles, not much, but he probably does. And I think Everton could do with bringing in another centre half just to give them a little kick up the.
What I felt is it's a bit like when Lescott and Jagielka were together. It was a fantastic partnership, but without each other, they were both weaker players. It was almost like they knew what each other's weaknesses were, so they read each other's weaknesses. And when you played Arden with Yobo, they weren't the same player, and maybe that's more to do with Yobo. It was the same with Stubbs and Weir as well. Together, both slow, both sort of hard hitting centre backs, but as a partnership, they were brilliant. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a really good partnership, and they've lost that connection somewhere down the line. Because what you see is, when we can see goals, is a lot of finger pointing, people saying that was your job, that should have been your job, and that's been the worry for me so far.
Yeah, when you lose that connection, it's sometimes difficult to get it back, isn't it? I mean, you know, distance seemed to pick that connection up with Stones. I don't know whether Stones was a better footballer than Jagielka, so it kind of worked, or whether the youthfulness. I think one thing John Stones does is he does commit to challenges. He throws himself in front of balls, and Jags has just stopped doing that a little bit. And maybe he just needs time out the team. Maybe Roberto needs to bring in another centre half to put the flightings on him to kind of shake them up a little bit. Or maybe John Stones just needs throwing in there now, the youthfulness, get that in. That's what we're building, a young team. So maybe we need to start looking at that defence and reshaping it.
The other side of it we wanted to mention as well is obviously the protection in front of them. Last season we had Barry, McCarthy, and also Ross Barkley in that three. You've got to remember that was a three. This season, so far it's been very much a two. Barry and McCarthy. The player in front of them has obviously been Stephen Naismith, but he's playing more as a number 10, rather someone who'd come and dig in midfield. And we've seen last season a lot of times that Barry or McCarthy win the ball and Barkley would take it and move it up the pitch 20, 30 yards. I think that's been missing so far. Don't get me wrong, Naismith's been absolutely brilliant in that position, but maybe there needs to be a change in that midfield so it goes back to a natural three. Maybe Besic could come in and be the third person and the front three be a little bit different. Just a slight change in the setup.
Maybe that's what it is. Naismith is never going to come the other way. He'll still try and work, but he's not going to be Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley naturally knows what role to play in that midfield. He knows to come back and take the ball, but taking Ross Barkley out of any team, you'd miss him. He's fabulous, and for us, they were a holy trinity, weren't they? Barry, McCarthy and Barkley last season. So we're always going to lose that and miss that at the moment, and we're struggling as a two, and them two are having to do three men's work, if you like, because we're playing such attacking football. McGeady's not going to track back. Morales doesn't do it as much as he probably should do. But so maybe we have to turn it all round and go to a 4-4-1-1 and kind of make it a 4, have Naismith off Lukaku and put Besic or even Gibson in there. He knows that role, unless he just puts Gibson in and puts McCarthy in the Barkley role. But I think maybe a flat 3. If he wants to have 3 up front, he needs a flat 3 behind him. And he knows all this. Look, he'll know, what needs thinking a bit. But that's how it looks.
Well, at least he's got a couple of weeks to figure out before the West Brom game. Obviously, we've got a couple of big games now, the West Brom game and the Crystal Palace game, certainly in the league anyway. And
6 points.
They're a big couple of games, aren't they, that we need to get 6 points from.
Definitely.
But listen, don't forget, leave your comments for us on the video. Make sure you subscribe. There might be a nice little button in that corner there, just above Baz's head. That'll tell you to subscribe. Leave your comments as well on Twitter at ToffeeTV1. We're going to start answering them as well. Don't just leave them there. We'll start answering them soon. We've got the hang of this. We'll start getting more Q&As going and listening to some of the things you've been saying as well. Don't forget, find us on Facebook, facebook.com at Toffee TV. Our website is toffeetv.net. Loads of blogs and things happening on there at the moment as well. So you can get in touch with us, all those things. Big couple of weeks now for the team to get its head sorted. I think is the main thing.
Maybe a couple of new faces.
Hopefully so. And if there is, we'll be banging out the video straight away. You've been watching Toffee TV. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.